Welcome to the Sales to CEO podcast. This is your host, Louie Herron. It is my personal mission to coach, motivate, and inspire you to go from salesperson to dealer principal or any position you desire. Stop making the excuses and let's start making the adjustments to the future you want and deserve. Today we're talking about how do you start your week and why you need to look at changing it. Hello, what's going on? Sales to CEO family. Listen, why in the world would you need to change your week? I want you to think about something for a minute. How you start your week is critical. Even more specifically, how do you start your day? Well, all of it ties together. And I think when you talk about change, when you talk about behavioral change, you're talking about getting better, talking about improving. The reason why we want to change anything is to get on the other side of greatness, right? We want to be on the most successful side of ourselves as we possibly can be. So if we're talking about how do you start your week, we're talking about do you start your week in the most positive, optimistic way? Do you even look at your week in advance? How do you start your day? Right? Those 7 days compound to make your week. So we want to get into that. And again, I know you're saying to yourself, okay, how does this come back to selling cars? Look, guys, it is all about life change. It's all about professional change, which is all about relational change, spiritual change, you name it. All that change will go back into what you do in the car business and how you perform on a daily basis. Now, guys, before we get into how do you start your week and what we need to do to change some things real quick, again, do me a big favor. Let's take this podcast, let's download it. Look, when you're done with this podcast, subscribe if you hadn't already so you can hit that notification so you can be notified when I drop another episode of Sales to CEO and how it's going to affect what you do. Let's share this with other car people. And always, guys, I appreciate everybody listening. So now let's get right into your week and how does this look? So my question is, what day starts your week, right? Think about that for a minute. A lot of people think the beginning of the week is Monday. I always look at really Sunday is what sets the tone for my week. And here's why. One of the major things I think we can do, and again, when I'm vigilant about this, I am extremely focused and tunnel vision when I'm in line with what I'm about to share with you on a weekly basis. But this is what I call course correcting. This is when you look back, you take a reversal and look at the prior week, see what happened, see what went well, see what pitfalls happened, see where you could have improved. Sunday is typically the day where you have a moment of rest. You can have an opportunity to sit back and analyze. Obviously, it's family day for most of you. But again, at the same time, that's a day where you can course correct. You can journal and write the prior week of what happened, do a review, and set up what's coming for the new week. So again, I will ask you, do you course correct every Sunday? Do you kind of recap your week every single week? If you don't, it's a golden opportunity for you to start making some of that positive change on how you start your week. Again, my week starts on a Sunday. That's when I prepare for the following week, and I'm encouraging you to do the same thing. Now, let's talk about Monday. You first wake up. You're ready to go. It's Monday. Is the first thing you do is grab your phone? First thing you do is go on social media? First thing you do is maybe check your email? Look, I get it. Most people do that. And again, I don't even think that's necessarily a bad thing or a wrong thing to do. What I'm isolating is you're getting ready to start your week, your physical week on Monday morning. You're waking up. You really need to take a hard look at the conversation as you roll out of bed. What is it? I'll tell you, like, for example, when I'm getting up and I'm going to the gym in the morning times and I'm in that zone, when I have those moments where I'm in that zone and getting up at 6 or, 5:45 or whatever, I'll be the first to tell you that first conversation, ooh, that bed is warm. Man, I don't want to get out of the bed with my baby. Like, I'm comfortable. I'm cozy, man. I feel fantastic. And when that alarm goes off, I never feel like I have enough sleep. And I got to realize that my body's getting ready to go through some activity. And so I feel every ache and pain inside of me, right? I don't know if you relate to that, but here's the deal. The bottom line is it's the conversation I have with myself that either gets me out of that bed or keeps me in that bed, right? So when I wake up, I want you guys to consider the first thing you do is you own the conversation that you have with yourself, okay? Remember, top producers. Let me tell you a study that Norman Vincent Peale did way back in the day, real simple, what top producers think about. They think about what they want. That's their dominant thoughts are their goals, priorities, actions, activities. Let me say that again. Top producers think about what they want, not what they don't want. Their dominant thought process is about their goals, priorities, actions, and activities. So again, You want to absolutely consume yourself with having that mindset. So when we start our day, what we want to make sure is we're avoiding negativity, number one. And number two, starting it and having something that actually gets the day going in a positive direction. That could be a consumption of a podcast. That could be a consumption of a book. That could be some prayer time, meditation, maybe a video, whatever it may be for you. Obviously, exercise could be in the equation. If you don't go to the gym or can't go to the gym, and maybe you get up and take a walk. I mean, any way you can kind of get your body moving. But I will tell you, you must tell yourself, okay, you must tell yourself that I am not going to subject myself to whatever it is right now that's in a negative light. It's funny because my wife, a lot of times when I will start to maybe penetrate an argument, she will stop me in my tracks and she will say, no, I'm not going to subject myself to this conversation right now. And like that quick, it stops. Right. So my point is you have to have that kind of control on yourself to understand that you're not going to accept or have that type of conversation with yourself that's not going to contribute in the way you want to go. It's Monday morning. What do we say? I own this day. It's a great day to be alive. It's Monday, right? We think about for a moment some gratitude. Talk about the most powerful emotion you can have is gratitude. You cannot hold a negative thought and a gratitude thought at the same time. It's impossible. Okay. So again, it's extremely hard to be negative when you're grateful, right? So if you think about when your morning starts off bad, what happened? Like, can you choose to get over it? Right? Because remember, this is going to affect your whole day. And if you don't catch it, it turns into your whole week. You really and truly can catch it the whole time. When you think about what you want, it does two things. Number one, you feel in control. Number two, you feel happy. Think about that for a moment. When you think about what you want, not what you don't want, when you think about what you want, two things happen. Number one, you start to feel in control. Number two, you start to feel happy. You start to generate those feelings and emotions that are propelling you towards the things that you want. If you sit down and ask somebody, give me your 5-year plan, where do you want to be in 5 years? Most people will tell you, I'm not sure. I don't know. I haven't thought about that. Some other people will tell you exactly what they don't want to have in 5 years. I know I don't want to be in the same job. I know I don't want to be married like this. I know I don't want to, I hope my kids, I don't want my kids to still be whatever age they are. I mean, they're quick to tell you what they don't want, but they're not quick to tell you what they do want. So again, those that produce, high producers, find ways to think about thoughts and things about what they do want. So let's talk about happiness for a quick second and just realize really happiness is kind of a step-by-step realization of a worthy target, a worthy goal, right? So what would be worthy? What has value? Relationships, your children, your business, your future, your purpose, your finances. These are all a worthy goal. And when you're working step by step towards that, that is what brings and creates happiness, right? So I want you to understand and isolate how much time are you spending thinking about your worthy goal? Or how much time are you spending with negative energy that's sucking the life out of you, sucking you dry? Think about this for a second. How much attention do you give to negative situations, toxic situations, versus how much time do you give thinking about your worthy targets, your worthy goals, your relationships, your finances, your health, all those things, right? Because remember, we're always moving step by step towards something. We're always moving towards something. You're always contracting or you're expanding. There's expansion or contraction. There's never standing still. Right? So again, we're moving towards something positive or we're moving towards something negative. I know you don't see it that way on occasion, but if you stop and analyze the thinking, the thoughts, the things that you tell yourself, the conversations that you have with yourself every single day, as they relate to how you are in business, as they relate to your personal experience, I promise you, it will tell you exactly why you have the outcomes you have, because your focus it tends to expand. Right? What grabs your focus grabs you. So if you're constantly focusing on negative or something that's not a worthy target that you're shooting for, a worthy goal, guess what you're going to do? You're going to create and give yourself exactly the same thing that you're thinking. So it's very, very important. Typically unsuccessful people or people that are not happy tend to focus on things and thoughts to the nature of what they don't want or past events, right? Or things they can't change or the what ifs or the scenario sickness syndrome, right? Where they're constantly like they're in the sea of what ifs. And I like to always say to those people, well, what if something doesn't work out? Well, what if something does work out? I mean, why would you plant scenarios of things that possibly could go wrong and again, attract all that negativity and toxicity to you, right? So again, these thought processes are critical, and typically unsuccessful people always concentrate on blaming and also things that make them angry or sad, or for the most part, looking in that rearview mirror versus looking at the big windshield. They're not looking forward, they're looking backwards. They're contracting and they're not expanding. And most of the time, it's not about their talents, abilities, and skills. It's about their thinking. It's their mindset. It's their thoughts. There's a lot of talented people that think negatively. And what could they produce if they had a positive outlook, a positive expectation, a mindset of growth? Starting their week, starting again, their how they start their day, all these things making a huge impact. But here's the deal. When we come to talking about unsuccessful people having the thought process of living in the past and scenario sickness, hey, I've been there. I've been there. You've been there. The key is not to live there. I mean, I've been there before. I understand my life was not always happy or successful. I had opportunities and times where I had bad habits and was sedating my feelings and sedating the way I felt, right? Totally unproductive. So it's not like I can sit there and act as if I'm any different. So here's the deal. As we wind this down and we're talking about having a successful start of your week, number one, when do you start your week? Okay, start your week on a Sunday. What are some of the critical things you do? We course correct. We start our week on Sunday. We recap the whole prior week. And then we focus on what we can do to get better for this week, right? We review, we journal, we write. We take the time to set up this coming week. We talk about getting into the day of Monday. We're starting our week off. This goes for Tuesday and Thursday and Friday, okay? Again, there's a lot of days in the week, but there's never a someday, okay? So don't wait for someday to kick this in place. Let's get this going right away because these are things that we can do. It's an attitude thing, not a talent thing. Starting your week right, course correcting, making a decision every day to have a great attitude is a choice. It's not a talent. Right? So we got to change the way we think. We want to think like a producer. We want to talk about what we want. Our dominant thoughts are about our goals, our priorities, our actions, our activities, right? We want to consume something positive. We want to make sure we write down our gratitude list. We read something positive. We listen to a podcast. We listen to a sermon. We listen to a sales or motivational video. We just want to get our mind right. What we want to do is avoid the negativity. Right? So we course correct, we journal, we write, we review. We get our minds right, thinking on the dominant thoughts of our goals, priorities, actions, and activities. We want to have an attitude of gratitude. We want to make sure that we're constantly looking forward, right? We start the day with our conversation with ourselves that I own this day. It's a great day to be alive. And look, here's the thing. We want to talk about that happiness again, and it's a step-by-step process towards a worthy goal. So as you start your week, put down what the goals are going to be for the week. What are the targets you're trying to hit? What are you working on step by step, right? In your relationships with your children, in your business, in your finances, in your spirituality, in your health, in your future, in your purpose. Look, it's an endless opportunity. And in the end, Sales to CEO University, you selling more cars, you advancing your career in the car business, you doing the things you need to do, growing in the car business, all of this takes place when you start your week off right. All of this takes place when you make the choice and decision to have your target and your dominant energy and thinking process about the things you want. These are the things we talk about in Sales to CEO University. Guys, look, again, until the next podcast, I wish you guys all the selling, but we got to get our minds right so we can get our skills right. If we get our mindset right, we get our skill set right, we can make the money, we can advance, we can move up in the car business. Again, it's a great industry. Look, Sales to CEO podcast. Until the next podcast, guys, I'll see you the next time. Hey guys, thank you so much for listening to the Sales to CEO podcast. Look, real simple. Do me a big favor. Number one, I'm totally grateful you took the time to listen, but share this, like, subscribe. This is how we build our network of growing people in the car industry to the next level. Again, like or share or subscribe right now. Until the next one, great selling, and let's go to the next level.